The Visit was a pleasant surprise. It was written and directed by M. Night Shyamalan, and I know some people automatically hear that name and groan. I'm not one of them. I actually really enjoy most of his movies. I didn't like The Last Airbender, and I didn't like After Earth. I think M. Night works best when he's making these smaller thrillers, or movies that may still be expensive. I know Unbreakable and Signs were still relatively expensive, but not these $150 million special effects heavy movies like After Earth. I feel he works much better when he's doing a movie with a smaller scope. It looks like it was made for about $5 million from Blumhouse, who produces smaller horror films. They did Sinister, they did Oculus. It's about two kids that are going to meet their grandparents for the first time. Now, the kids have never seen their grandparents before because the mother and them had a falling out 15 years ago. So they go out to stay there with them for a week. I'm not going to spoil anything about the movie, nothing that the trailer hasn't already shown. Basically, the kids get out there, they spend some time with the grandparents, and the grandparents start acting really weird. And that's all I'm going to say about the plot. The good in it, it was an unexpected horror comedy. I didn't know that it was going to be horror comedy, and I was pleasantly surprised. The humor in it was very funny. He did a good job of balancing out the humor and the horror, which is always kind of a little bit tricky. I will say this definitely went more humor. I'd say it's probably about 60-40, 60 on the humor, 40 on the horror. That's not to say the horror aspects weren't effective when they kicked in. That actually kind of helped to make them a little bit more effective. He had some well-placed jump scares. There was only two really major ones. There was some little ones here and there, but not to the degree of something like Sinister 2, where it was just jump scares constantly. So this was an effective use of jump scares. The movie was paced really well. It never was boring. The theater I saw it in absolutely loved it. The people in there were laughing at the right times. They were hiding their eyes and jumping at the right times. And that helps to make a movie a little bit more enjoyable. This is one of those movies that definitely benefits from seeing it theatrically, from seeing it with that big crowd and getting that crowd reaction. There was some really good storytelling going on. The kids in it were very good. They didn't suffer from like annoying kid actor syndrome. They were believable. There was one really gross moment that was fantastic. The bad in it, well, the way that the movie was done, it was done kind of found footage / fake documentary style. They did it well, but they still suffered from that found footage silliness where there's something perilous going on, but you're still filming. So that was kind of a little bit, but it's one of those things that kind of goes hand in hand with found footage movies because you need to get the shot and you can't very well have the person turn off the camera and run and then turn the camera back on and be like, oh man, I just ran away from, and explain the entire scene that you should have just saw. It's kind of one of the weaknesses of the found footage genre because they have to keep filming, and the ways to justify them to keep filming, it always kind of gets to a point where they would have turned off the camera by now. Aside from that, I can't really think of anything I disliked about it. It was just fun. It was one of the more fun experiences I've had in the theater in a while. The audience was laughing and cheering and having a good time, and I was happy. It actually made the movie more enjoyable. I had avoided going to a lot of movies because, people are talking on their cell phones or being annoying. Everyone was invested in the movie, and it was great. It's not coming out for a couple of weeks. I think it comes out on September 11th. I don't think the trailer did it justice. It was much better than the trailer made it look. This harkens back to M. Night's older stuff, which is definitely where he needs to stay. He needs to do more movies like this, not grandiose sci-fi films. So if you like thrillers and you like M. Night's older stuff, definitely go see this in the theater when it comes out. If your experience in the theater was anything like mine, where the crowd is really into it, you'll enjoy it that much more.